Jet Lawrence bests Cameron McAdoo and extends his championship lead, while Eli Tomac proves again that he is the best rider in the 450 class in 2022. I'm Tyler Deering, and welcome to Gate Drop News. What's going on, guys? Tyler Deering back with another episode of GDN Indy Race Review Edition. Saturday night saw much better racing, a lot cleaner than last weekend in Detroit. No major crashes from the front runners, but it was still a fantastic night of bar-to-bar action throughout the field. Jet Lawrence and Cameron McAdoo had a great battle. Jet got out in front, McAdoo passed him. Jet ultimately ran him down for the win, extending his championship lead, but both riders look very good in what is the class of the field in the 250 class. As for the 450s, you saw Justin Barcia get out in front, eventually surrender the lead, and accidentally take out Jason Anderson. We'll talk about his punishment a little bit later, but this opened the door for Eli Tomac to stretch his lead. He fumbled a little bit in the last couple laps and darn near lost it to Justin Barcia. Thankfully, this was not the case for Tomac. He crossed the line about a second ahead of Barcia, grabbing his fourth straight win in the series. Tomac extends his championship lead to nearly 50 points. He is dominating the series right now. It doesn't look like anybody is on par with him. Great for Tomac, but let's talk about the 250 main results. 250 main, Jet Lawrence first, Cameron McAdoo comes home second, with RJ Hampshire rounding out the podium. So Lawrence, the big news was not in the main, it was in his heat race. When he got tangled up in the first corner, wasn't really his fault, looked like a Kawasaki got on the inside of him, clipped Jet. Jet goes flying over the tough blocks. We'll take a quick look at that.
One more time, RC. There you go. See the 243 of Brock Pappy. He comes in there. Hardy Munoz comes in there. Way too much speed.
This wreck could have been so much worse. Thankfully for Jet, he was able to get up, recover, and he won the heat race. He literally went from a 5-second deficit behind everybody, a 5-second deficit from dead last, to go all the way and win the heat race. I know it's a 250 regional class, but that takes guts, that takes speed. So cool to see him just fly up through the pack. The main event, he got out in front and actually was passed by Cameron McAdoo. Did not see that one coming. McAdoo has been quick, but he hasn't really been on Jet's level. Plus, he tweaked his knee at Daytona. It took a little bit of time for Jet to regain his composure, but he didn't go crazy, and as soon as he got past, it wasn't right back at him. He took the time, remount the charge, got by him, rode away from him by a couple seconds, and took the win. Hampshire in third was an awesome run for him. Good to see him back on the podium after a couple weeks of bad luck and crashes. But Pierce Brown in fourth place. Pierce Brown, out of the whoop section, took a terrible crash. I thought he broke his collarbone because it was almost the same incident that we saw happen to Austin Fortner during the COVID races in Utah. Brown came out of the whoops, endoed into the face of the next bowl turn. He gets up, wins the LCQ, and finishes fourth. That, to me, showed the toughness of the 19-year-old to get out there, finish top 5 after he could not be feeling 100%. There was no way. Oldenburg 5th, Enzo Lope in 6th. Lopes actually went to the LCQ, so good to see him transfer. He is really mounting a charge on that Club MX bike, even when his teammates, Phil Nicoletti, were missing mains. So great run for Lopes to recover what could have been a very damaging night in the points. Chiz 7th with Jordan Smith in 8th. Chiz is just not really gelled with that 250 bike. Part of it, I think, is that he's been on that 450 for so long, and running up front is a totally different animal than running 15th. Just mentally, it's a little bit different to pass those factory guys than it is to pass the quick privateer guys. Not entirely surprising that he's struggling. I'll admit I had a little bit higher expectations than running mid-pack, but it sounds like Levi Kitchen is done for the year. There's been reports that Martin's done for the year. So Chiz could be finishing the year on this Star Racing 250, and you'd have to think that by the end of it, he'd be up there contending for podiums. Thankfully, no factory riders crashed out of the 250 main event. So that said, let's take a quick look at the championship. Jet Lawrence's lead extends to 11 points over Cameron McAdoo, and really those are the only two that have a realistic shot at winning the championship. There's a good chance that Jet can pull away with it, but an 11-point lead is something that can evaporate in literally one race, so don't give it to him just yet. McAdoo's actually been quite fast. I didn't think he was going to have that kind of pace coming off a knee injury. I don't think he's going to beat him on pace. 11 points down is a big margin to beat him every race, especially in a regional class, but were Jet to have a problem, McAdoo's right there to pick up the pieces. Anyway, let's go to the 450s, because there was a little bit more action in that class. 450 main, the podium, Tomac, Barcia, and Musquin. Tomac was not the fastest. He didn't do amazing in his heat race, That honor went to Justin Barcia, who pulled the whole shot and got away from Jason Anderson, but a mistake led to Anderson getting by him. Let's take a quick look at the incident that followed. I don't believe it was intentional, but let's watch it and then you guys can decide. Justin Barcia gets passed by Jason Anderson, goes for an aggressive block pass, not out of a bowl turn, but going into the straightaway. Barcia comes in at a pretty aggressive angle, cleans Anderson out. I don't think he meant to do it. I mean, he threw the hand up after he crashed him, but the damage was already done. Anderson got back to his bike quickly, but he lost about 5 to 7 seconds and wasn't able to recover. For Barcia, this resulted in a $3,000 fine as well as a 3 championship point reduction. For Barcia, this doesn't really matter. I mean, he wasn't going to win the championship anyway. Still gets credit with the podium, I believe. Anderson needed to win this race to have any chance at the championship, and with the loss, it just kind of sums it up. You know, he has had so many issues on the track this year. He's either winning or just having bad luck. I mean, this is the second time that Barcia's taken him out. He had a bike problem earlier in the year. For Anderson, this is kind of one of those years of what could have been, but I think you got to be proud of the pace that he's had. Anyway, further down the order, Sexton 4th. He was pretty quiet all night. Same with Cooper Webb in 5th. Webb, remember, if you saw my Instagram, was riding injured, so not surprising that he was in 5th. Just good to see him on the gate, quite frankly, because we didn't have Dylan Ferrandis tonight. Malcolm Stewart in 8th. He was running 4th when he lost it in the rhythm section. Cased one of the jumps, landed on it looked like his shoulder kind of head area. Thankfully, he got up and finished the race. That dude is tough as nails, but the mistake did cost him another good run. When is Malcolm going to get the win? Because he clearly has the pace to. I hope it's this year. I really do. I want to see him do well. Freezy in 9th with Brees in 10th. Freezy's a good rider. I mean, we've given him crap on the 250 West because he's been very aggressive, but he's a very solid rider. Top 10 in a 450 class on a non-factory outlet. It's pretty good. Same for Brees. Starling comes home 11th. Again, good run for all these guys. Clayson 12th, Bogle 13th, Noren 14th. Good run for the 2 privateers, but for Bogle in the middle, he went down early in the first turn, was able to recover to 13th, so not bad for Bogle. Just need to see him having kind of those mid-runs. I mean, he led for a little bit in Detroit, but that bike doesn't have the pace to stay up front for more than a couple laps. Hartwith 15th and Moran's 16th. Again, further down the order, we're just kind of seeing the same guys fall into their places. Good for Kevin Moran's, a popular privateer, to get into the main once again. That's 2 in a row for Kevin. But the 450 championship battle is looking like it's almost over. It's not quite 50 points for Eli Tomac, but Justin Barcia actually moved into 2nd with his run tonight. So now Anderson and Stewart, you've got to think are too far back unless Tomac were to miss 3 races, in which case then it would be a good championship, but we do not wish that on anybody. Tomac has been the fastest and deserves it. I hope that he can stay on 2 wheels for the rest of the season, and I hope that Tomac can get that 2nd championship that he deserves. I think, though, we might have another winner. We've had 4 thus far. I think Webb's going to sneak up there and might get one, and I think Malcolm, if he can just put it together, might have one as well. Barcia was close. He was right there to grabbing that next victory, so don't cut him out just yet, but I'm very excited to see kind of how the season unfolds. Super excited to keep covering it for y'all. We will see y'all in the next video.